Hello everybody, this is Diana. This is my Trailblazers of the Universe podcast. Some of you might know me from my Trailblazers of the Universe YouTube channel, where I help you fearlessly and unapologetically live your best, most authentic life. And I also help you break through your barriers and transcend limitations you may have. So the type of content I'm going to be posting on my podcast is going to be a good mix of self-improvement, spirituality, and emotional healing, but not limited to just those topics. So today I want to talk about the importance of going within. I would recommend for you to check out one of my previous podcast episodes where I talk about the Great Awakening and consciousness shift that's going on the planet. So as we all know, we're going through a big awakening, right? A shift in consciousness. The whole planet is shifting in frequency. And I always say when that happens, right, things that are lower vibration or lower frequency are going to come to the surface for awareness. They need to be transmuted. They need to be transcended, right? Or awareness needs to be brought to them so we can become our best version. So we can evolve with the shift of the planet. And that's why you're seeing a lot of things are being exposed, right? We're also in the age of Aquarius, which is the age of information. So during the age of information, a lot of information is coming out. Truths are being exposed. That's part of the frequency shift too, is things that were done in darkness are coming to light, right? Look at Hollywood, for example. All things are being exposed there. We have people that are speaking out. We have whistleblowers. We have all kinds of different things, right? And it can be hard if you're either going through awakening at this time or you're at just different stage of awakening. I don't think people just have one spiritual awakening. I think there are many stages, right? And you're constantly evolving. If you're still here on this earth, you're obviously here. You have karma you need to work out, right? If you believe in that. But regardless of what words you want to use, you have lessons to learn. You're here on earth for a reason with a divine purpose. For a reason. So you're here to learn, to experience life, you have a certain purpose, right? So you're here to experience life, to learn the lessons, to learn to deal with emotions, to awaken to your true self. Part of it is learning knowledge. When you have this knowledge of certain things, then you can evolve more, right? Awareness is the key to change. So one might ask, all these quote unquote truths are coming out. What do I believe in? What's the real truth? But the truth is, multiple truths can exist at the same time. Notice that a lot of the things that are being exposed, sometimes a lot of it is to deceive or to distract us from who we truly are, from waking up, or just to put a bunch of information out to confuse us, right? So we don't know who to believe. And then the same forces, I'll just say, on this planet who cause the problem also want to come up with a solution, right? Think about it. We could look at the medical system, how our food is being poisoned, and then or different things, products we use or have chemicals, right? Have things that cause disease, cause illness, and then they come up with a solution that's supposed to heal you from it, right? Think of different medicines, things like that. So when you have nowhere else to look, when you don't know where to go for solutions, and there are a lot of teachers, but there also are false light too. So there are a lot of teachers out there, spiritual teachers, healers, right? People have a lot of different solutions for problems. But also know that there is also such thing as false light, false prophets, right? Or maybe their style isn't going to resonate with you. Like if you're looking for a solution to a problem, you're looking for extra knowledge and stuff, there's so many different sources. How do you know what the real truth is? And the simple answer is it's not out there, it's within. But you do have the answer, but then you haven't tapped in yet. It's tapping into your intuition. How do you tap more within? You meditate more. You eliminate the distractions. You eliminate things that are lowering your vibration. When you're more tapped in, when your vibration is higher, I can't tell you how many times I try to meditate, and when I eat heavy food or like something that's not good, or that's something that's really heavy, fattening, they lower your vibration, right? Same with substances. I could say that with alcohol. I used to be an addict as well, so I can say the same thing with other substances. And all those things, I didn't feel as tapped into my intuition. Like I had this intuition, I always got downloads and stuff, but it was very clouded because I was putting things in my body and my mind that were clouding my intuition, that were distracting me from my true self. Those things aren't really me, those things are altering the way I'm thinking. They're altering my perception. They're lowering my vibration. We're always connected to source, right? But I didn't feel as connected to source. I felt like I was really confused at the time, right? Now, deep down, I still had the intuition to do certain things. I would still make good choices even when I was in a bad state, even when I was going through rougher times in my life where I was, in my addiction stage or anything like that. I still had, the intuition. It was kind of just the voice wasn't as loud. My voices of my demons were louder. The voices of the things that were clouding me, what I was putting in my body, my mind and stuff were louder, right? This includes also the programming you're listening to, music you're listening to, all that's programming into your subconscious mind. What you're watching on Netflix, what your movies you're watching. The kind of stuff I was watching was all I was watching a bunch of horror movies, a bunch of stuff on serial killers, and I liked all that stuff for a long time. I'm not saying I won't watch it every once in a while, but all that stuff was affecting my perception. Having affected my perception. The things I was eating, the substance I was putting into my body, like I said, I was perceiving the world differently from a lower perspective. When you think your vibration is lower, right, you're not seeing things from a higher perspective. You're in a lower density, right? You're feeling more dense. You're of a lower vibration, and you're going to resonate more with things of a lower frequency. When you raise your vibration, when you remove some of these distractions, especially people from your lives that are not going where you're going, a lot of people are there to test you. To be quite honest, when I went through my addiction, I feel like I was around a bunch of demons for years. I mean, that's just the truth of it. That's the truth. I was with people that I consider addiction like you're being taken over by something, and I felt like I was taken over by something. That's exactly how I felt. I had something else controlling my drive to do certain things, to get certain things, put things in my body that were bad. I almost feel like it wasn't me. I look back on that period and I'm just like, man, So therefore I wasn't as tapped in. I was tapped into something, but it wasn't tapped into my higher self. I was tapped into something else that was of evil, I'm not blaming anyone else but myself. I made choices. I interacted with certain people. I chose to put something in my body. No one forced anything, and that was my choice, and I had to learn from doing that. But my whole point is going within is also not seeking all these external things to make you feel better, or your answers. Or sometimes I would like to do substances and stuff just to give myself a different perception. We can talk about hallucinogens, talk about that kind of stuff too. But I was more into the addictive substances. I had to go to a holistic rehab to get better. If you watch if you listen to my holistic guide to healing, the first episode on this podcast, check it out. I talk a little bit more about that, how I healed from all that. And I also went through the medical system where I was on and off medication. They diagnosed me bipolar, which I don't agree with. I was a person who had mood swings, yes. I did have a grandmother that was bipolar. I did have anxiety, but I didn't have good coping mechanisms, and I was an addict at the time, a functional addict who still went to work and stuff. And I went to college, I did all that stuff, but I became later on, I had to go get help for all that. I thought that taking those medications were going to help me feel better. I thought that taking those medications we're gonna make my anxiety go away, make me not feel moody, make me feel more content. But those medications made it so that I was not able to tap into myself. I actually had to stop taking those medications on my own. The medical system, they wanted me to continue on it. But did they take into consideration that my addiction to drugs was part of the thing? Me not having coping skills? And I went to therapists for years, I'm not down on anybody that goes to a therapist or psychiatrist or anything, but from what I found is that from going within, I found the answers to even how to cope with all the things I was dealing with that I thought I had to take medication for. I found that by going within more. It wasn't by going outside of myself. I actually chose, right before I started making my YouTube channel, I had a download. I just got out of a holistic rehab. I was healing myself. Something in my intuition told me, after all the things were out of my system, right, for a while, I went away for 4 months to an intensive holistic rehab, and I really learned a lot there, how to cope with some of the issues I was dealing with, cope with my emotions, cope with trauma, different things like that, grief. And once those things started to wear off of my system, the substances I'm talking about that I was choosing to take that were not good for me, and then I realized, hey, you know what? I feel a lot better not with these substances. Maybe these psychiatric medications I've been experimenting for years. Like, they're always trying to get you to find the perfect dose. They even gave me an antipsychotic at one point, which I'm not in a state where I need to take that. Like, that was not the right diagnosis for me. I at one point, they were giving me anxiety medication. They were giving me mood stabilizer and antipsychotic. And I felt like I was losing I just felt not right. I felt like I couldn't tap into my creativity. I felt like I wasn't being myself. It just felt very not authentic to me. So when I went in the doctor's office and I said I want to get off these medications, they were very against it. So I weaned off myself, which, by the way, I would not recommend for anybody. Go, if you communicate with the doctor and have them get you off something. But I was just so fed up that I decided just to stop taking stuff. I lost one of my medications. I just said, screw it. I already came off other substances, whatever. This should be nothing right now. It wasn't good. It definitely had a bad effect on me, so I would not recommend that to anybody. But my point was, I was so fed up, and I had this download that medications weren't going to help me with my content, what I was trying to do, with my purpose on this planet. So as I gave my brain time to heal after, and it took a while, this didn't happen overnight, I should have probably followed the doctor's advice and went off myself at my own timing, but I kind of did more intense. I was just fed up at this time. And I also had to take medicine for addiction as well. So that was another thing. All these things were altering my perception. They were all altering the way I was feeling. It was kind of just numbing me out. And I was sick of numbing myself out. That's what I did for years. So I wanted to, because I went to holistic rehab, I decided to do things from a more holistic perspective and to deal with things naturally. I wanted things that were natural. I was sick of all these chemicals being put into my brain. I was sick of it, and I learned a lot about the food I was eating when I went to that holistic rehab. We weren't allowed to have sugar for a while. We weren't allowed to have sugar at all. We weren't even allowed to have caffeine. Now, I still drink coffee and stuff like that. Usually I do more superfood coffee, so I'm not saying I'm completely against anything, that's not natural. But I did learn about the effects that these things have on me. So once I started taking, once I was off these medications, I was off these really hard substances that you shouldn't be taking, I almost didn't make it out alive from. That's when I realized that, man, I feel a lot better. I'm more tapped in. Like, my downloads are more on point, more creative. Yes, I do feel more. I am forced to sit with my emotions, and I had to do a lot of shadow work, dark night of the soul, whatever, through the end of my addiction and stuff. So all the emotions I had suppressed for a long time. So once I started to move these things, I saw a group to do this, for this full-time purpose group, to do spiritual business. So I was doing my YouTube channel at the time. So then I started my YouTube channel, and I actually started a new job that was in the finance sector. Really wasn't what I was interested in. I wasn't really good with numbers and stuff. So I lost that job, and then I had nothing to do. I was dating this guy at the time, and I was sitting in his apartment. It was an opportunity for this group, people who want to do spiritual business or YouTube or some kind of business, to make it a full-time purpose. So I had all this energy, and now I had an outlet. I was like, great, I can actually channel this into content. Did it kind of scare me? Yes, putting myself out there, but I always knew I wanted to do a YouTube channel. Even through my addiction stage, I had this vision. I was called to do YouTube, to do content. I thought I had a lot of good things to share. I had a lot of kind of crazy experiences in my life, very intense. A lot of people don't make it out of some of the experiences I've had, but I thought it would be good to make it into, to make content out of it, to make something out of all the crazy experiences I had. And I needed an outlet for that energy. One thing I learned going through that holistic rehab, I needed an outlet for the energy. So I started to do that. So like I said, as I'm removing all these things, all these distractions, all these things that alter my perception, then I can go within more. Now my answers are coming in. Now my downloads are coming in. My spiritual downloads are coming in. Do you think it's a coincidence that the medical system wants to drug you up with all these medications because you can't tap in as much? I noticed a profound difference when I got off these medications and off other substances. All right, I'm still working on the food thing. It's not easy, I'm eating more vegetables, superfoods, and I'll tell you, I feel more tapped in when I eat these superfoods like whole pressed green juice. I'm always eating some kind of superfood, some kind of vegetables, some kind of fruit, things like that. And I notice the difference. I'm tapped in. I'm getting my spiritual downloads. I'm getting my intuitions on point when I'm having these higher vibrational food. Let's just say higher vibrational food. It doesn't have to be superfoods. Not everything is a superfood, but I would highly suggest to look into superfoods. When I'm eating superfoods and anything of that nature, higher vibrational food, I'm on point. Like, I'm coming out with content. I have ideas are flowing. When I notice when I eat heavier foods, right, they're not flowing. I feel almost like I'm blocked. I actually have trouble meditating when I eat like a heavy food. If I eat a whole thing of pizza or like pasta or something right before I meditate, I can't even tap into. Like, it's like I feel heavy. I can feel like my mind and my spirit trying to connect, but then my body just feels weighed down, you know? And we also remember that trauma starts in your body too. So as you release some of your trauma and stuff, there's different ways to heal with trauma. There's therapy for that. You do like somatic work. There's so many different ways to heal trauma. There's rapid eye movement. There's things that I've experimented with, that kind of stuff too. I also have trauma I'm healing from. And I'm still am, it's a never-ending process, but I have done a lot of work with that. And as I've started to work on healing my trauma and stuff, my intuition is heightened too, because sometimes when you haven't healed trauma, or you just have, trauma doesn't always mean like you were beat, like some people think that. It's emotional trauma. Anything that caused a big dent in your emotional state that has really affected you emotionally, like it's traumatic emotionally, is also trauma. Some people, and that includes grief, that includes like heartbreak, that includes any kind of experience. Maybe your life was in danger, you didn't feel safe in your environment. It could go on many different levels. And sometimes we are in a society where we're desensitized, and we think that it doesn't mean anything, or, oh yeah, that's all good. It didn't mean anything, right? So basically, when you have all that trauma in your body and your mind, and maybe you don't trust as easily, you might not trust your intuition as well. So the more you work to heal yourself, to raise your vibration, to eliminate these distractions, and also to let go of people that are not good for you, then you're going to see all this stuff being exposed out in the world, right? All these different things, information being exposed. And then you'll feel more safe going within. And also, like, Reiki has really helped me. I had some blockages in my chakras, and they can get blocked very easily, right? So maybe you won't feel as tapped into your intuition too when you have imbalances in your chakras, right? That's a real thing. You can look it up, chakra balancing, look it up, Reiki, those are all real things. And of course, we haven't been taught that in our school system. Wonder why? Because they don't want us to heal ourselves. They want us to depend on the system, right? To heal us, who's really just poisoning us and wants to keep us in lower vibrations. So going within, a lot of it is sometimes learning to be alone, being in solitude. If you're going to listen to other people all the time, a lot of people are lost anyway. A lot of people are following the crowd. A lot of people are programmed too. We've all been programmed to a certain extent. So a lot of this is undoing the programming, to question everything. You want to go within, you need to tap into yourself more. You need to spend more time alone. I'm not saying you need to isolate yourself and not talk to anybody. Sometimes that is the case if you're around a bunch of people that are no good and are bringing you down and don't really support your highest good and your goals and your dreams, your purpose, or when you're trying to do better and evolve and heal, and they're trying to bring you back to your old self and bring you back to your like lower self, and even habits, certain feelings. You'll know how you feel when you're around these people. So all these things are essential for going within. If you want to trust your intuition, you want to find the answers, you have to eliminate a lot of things that are bringing you down. And I kind of went on a rant with all that stuff because that is how I started to go within. For me, I was a drug addict before. So do you think I trusted my own intuition? My intuition, quote unquote, those are my intuition, told me to go hang around with these people, to go do all these crazy behaviors. I was driven by something that I can't explain, that was very strong, very powerful, that wasn't me. I know I chose to put something in my body. I take responsibility for the choices I made. But when I started to let go of these things, I started to go more within. When I started to let go of all these heavy things that were heavily controlling the way I'm thinking, feeling, and acting, that's when I can go within more. And that's why people struggle with this. Everyone says go within, and you say, man, how do I go within? I don't even trust my own intuition, especially if you went through some traumatic experiences. You might trust other people. You don't know what to believe. Some people have psychosis because they hear all these crazy things, and they don't know what to believe, but it's just removing these things that are not good for you, and then you'll feel more comfortable going within. A lot of people don't even feel safe in their own body. They don't feel comfortable within themselves. A lot of people, doing shadow work is a big thing too. If you can't even sit with your own shadow, your own demons, your own like all the fears, insecurities, emotional trauma, right, that have been subconsciously running your life, they're scary to sit with. People always want to be distracted all the time. They always want to have their phone on. They always want to watch something in the background. They always want to have people around them because they don't want to go within. But your answers are not going to be out there, and you're not going to feel better by going out there. It's all an inner job. So you got to learn to sit with that shadow, face your emotions, face all the things you've been dealing with. Of course, or a therapist, things like that. I'm not saying they haven't helped me at all, but they're all part of my process. But do what you feel called to do. Going within is also doing what you feel like you need to do. There might be different healing modalities that other people don't agree with that work for you. Reiki is one of them for me that I like. I did some Akashic record reading too. My friend Jackie Lyons, shout out to her. She gave me a great reading, tapping into the Akashic records, and some things about my karma from my past life, things like that. Information about my energy centers, things that they're just a very good detailed reading, and I worked on some of those things. My life really changed after that. I'm not saying that's the only modality, but going within is also doing what you feel called to do. Maybe you feel called to eat certain things, or to not eat certain things, or to be around this person, to go to this healer, to go take a class in this, to go, hey, I'm going to go work on somatic, more like somatic meditation or transcendental meditation. Maybe I'm going to work on more somatic breathwork or somatic healing to heal my trauma. Not a lot of people know about that. I've started to get into that recently because I was just seeing what I was doing wasn't working. But this required me to be alone for a while. I had to let go of a lot of people. I don't call it lonely because, you know what, it was solitude. It was what I needed, because how could I get the answers I needed when I'm around people that are not going where I'm going, that are just, I don't want to say like I think I'm better than everybody, but just that they weren't trying to heal themselves, they weren't trying to make changes, and I was. Let's just say that. So you're vibrationally, you're going differently, you're on different journeys, and that's okay. It's okay to go on different journeys, but until I could sit and doing that shadow work, going to that holistic rehab made me do my shadow work. I had to sit with the demons I was facing that was driving me to use substances and to do these behaviors, and to, the way I would be in toxic relationships, or I would just date guys that, were not really good for me, or there was some kind of codependency going on either end. There was always something kind of unhealthy about the relationships I was in, most of them, but I learned the most from them. But so I was saying, why am I seeking out these kind of people? Why am I, when there's red flags, why did I choose to put those substances in my body knowing that they were killing me, even after I'd overdosed many times? Why was I choosing to do some of the things I do? I had to sit with myself. I had to remove all the substances. I had to remove even the guys I was around. And I just went to that holistic rehab. I did it very intense, not just therapy, but it's like a whole different way of living, right? So you're doing different modalities, like learning different coping skills on how to live, from a mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual level. They're all connected. You can't just work on one when you're healing. It's they're all connected. So you have to consistently do things, coping mechanisms, work on healing on all of those areas. Right now, I say I'm working more on the physical. I've done a lot of my mental, emotional, and even spiritual, but my physical is the one I'm, if I'm, more with like the exercise and the eating and stuff, just kind of more of the basic stuff. But that's a program too. You're going on doing that to heal my relationship with my body more. I knew that I had a lot of trauma stored into my body, and I did a lot of damage to my body from my substance use for years and years. So, it's also trusting my own body again and feeling safe within my body. That's a big thing. Some people don't feel safe within their mind. You want to go for your answers within. They don't feel safe within their mind, body, or even their soul, right? They don't trust themselves. So this is a lot of work. This isn't going to be done overnight. Just continue to heal yourself. Do what feels natural to you. It's okay to take advice from other people. Some people give really good advice, but what works for them might not work for you. So do things to heal yourself. Do things to improve yourself. Don't be afraid to be alone. Don't be afraid to sit and meditate. Don't be afraid to sit and turn off everything. Turn off the music, turn off your phone, turn off everything. Just sit in silence. Can you even do that? A lot of people can't. Your mind wants to go to the next thing. Doesn't want to sit with itself. It can be painful. We have a lot of memories and stuff that maybe are traumatic. And, I encourage you to do what feels right for you. If you feel called to see a therapist to help with that, or whatever you feel called to do, but it's going within. What is your intuition telling you? Your intuition, your higher self is always communicating with you. Just, are you tapping into it or not? Are you listening or not? You'll have nudges. You'll have synchronicities. There are different ways that your spirit communicates with you. Or you go into meditation and ask, call in your ascended masters, spirit guides, whatever, high of light, highest good, right? And go within. Or If you don't know how to go within 5 more, you can go look up how to go within more, So with everything that's going on, all this information, it just, we're talking about what's the real truth. Well, what resonates with you within your soul, You can hear all these different things, like some of these things, all these information you're finding out, a lot of it's not relevant. How is that really affecting my life now? It's also just choosing to keep continuing to work on yourself and bettering yourself no matter what, and healing yourself no matter what's going on in the outside world. You're going to find out more information. People are going to expose themselves. You're going to see a lot of crazy things going on around in the world, but a lot of these things are part of the distraction so that you don't go with it. They want you to focus out there, so you're not focused on what's going on in here, inside, so you're not tapping into yourself. And the veil is thin right now. Your intuition is actually heightened right now, and the veil between our world, the 3D world, and the spirit world is very thin right now. So a lot of these things that are being put out are to take your attention away from within, and so you don't get that guidance. So I would highly recommend meditating every day. Highly recommend going into nature. Highly recommend doing whatever healing modality to get some of the trauma out of your body. Also to heal, to work on healthier coping mechanisms. I also said, to eat more superfoods, to eat lighter, to be mindful of the content you're consuming. When you're constantly consuming negative content, whether it's through music, Netflix, whatever shows, what are you really watching? What kind of message, what kind of symbolism do they have? That stuff is all affecting you as well. The people you're around, like I said. So just making sure that all these choices, these things you're letting in your mind, body, and soul are in alignment with your highest self. When you do that, it's easier to go within. It's easier to get the answers. Sometimes it's a practice, practice meditating, practice going to nature, practice sitting by yourself, or there are even divination tools, right? You have to be careful with those, that you're calling in light and love and light and everything, right? You could get other things going in with that when you're doing pendulum dowsing and tarot and stuff like that. You just be mindful. You can look at practices to make sure your energy is protected while doing those kind of things. So, and also sometimes you get the answers from, some people do automatic writing, like journaling. That can help too, But a lot of it just being okay, being by yourself sometimes, not having always distractions around all the time. Distractions come in many forms. Distractions come in the form of fear, right? People, content, right? That you're consuming. The newest gossip, the newest world event, whatever, all that. Yeah, these things are affecting you, but, you just need to worry about focusing on yourself. The best thing you could do is to heal yourself, continue improving yourself, and continue to try to let go of what doesn't serve so that you can go within more, so it's not so cloudy. So that was my little rant for today. I hope you got something out of it on going within. Everything is an inside job. Happiness is an inside job. Your answers that you're seeking are going within. And it can take a little bit to connect more with your intuition. You can look up how to connect more with your intuition. There's a lot. We are in the age of information. There are a lot of resources. You could research into this stuff. If you still don't know, you can look up things like this and see what resonates with you. Just seeing what resonates with your soul. Sometimes your body will move a certain way when it resonates, or you feel something inside. So just finding what works for you. It's a journey, right? And it could take a while. It's okay to get frustrated. It's okay to feel confused, but that's all part of the journey. Make sure to go within more. Right now, more than ever, you can't always rely on these outside sources. A lot of them don't have your best intentions, so learn to trust yourself and go within more. Signing off this Trailblazers of the Universe podcast. Make sure to follow, like, or leave a 5-star rating where applicable if it resonates. I also have a YouTube channel, Trailblazers of the Universe. I have a Facebook group, Trailblazers of the Universe, and I'm on TikTok and Instagram. TikTok is Trailblazers of Universe, and Instagram is Trailblazers of the Universe as well. I also offer intuitive transformational coaching if you need help getting your life together, if you going through spiritual awakening, dark night of the soul, dealing with addiction issues, grief, mental health issues, toxic relationships. I have a lot of experience in all those areas, and I've really overcome a lot of these experiences and, use these to empower me and become my best version. I know how to become an alchemist and transmute a lot of those and use them to empower me instead. So have a good day, everybody. Namaste.